It's time for the show that brings the magic right to your speakers. Ears Up!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ears Up Podcast. We're doing something fun and crazy today. We are over on Twitch for the very first time on this show. This show is on Twitch. So, that's fun for everybody, I'm sure.
Except you.
Except me. Yeah, because it's like I'm sitting here. So like those of you, turn the stupid music up. Those of you who are familiar with Twitch, that's cool. For those of you who aren't, ask your kids. But you can play different sounds and people follow you or whatever. And I'm sitting here and Mr. P is trying to blow my eardrums out. He's like triggering all this crap. And I'm like, oh, man, this is going to actually be painful for editing. But it's cool. It's all good stuff, obviously. Right. But it's just like it's like one of those audio things that you don't think about until it's in your ears and you're about to work. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Here's a whole, thing. So I'm sure it'll be all right. But I think if this works, if I can figure out how to get the show properly edited, I think we'll live on Twitch instead of YouTube. I've been threatening that for a while. And tonight I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So it's obviously a free account, twitch.tv. And you set up your account. And then if you Google linking your Amazon Prime account with Twitch, because they're owned by the same company, if you do that, it's also super easy too. And then you get a free Prime subscription to any streaming channel that you like, which would be ours. So you go and you can link them, and then you go to our account, which is twitch.tv/earsup. And you can follow us, which is good. And then you can also sub. You can subscribe to our channel. We get a couple Bezos bucks a month. So it's a good way to help the channel out. And it's literally free to you. It just takes maybe 5 minutes for you to set up. And then you'll get alerts when we go live. And you can have cool emotes. And, eventually I'm going to trigger. So Mr. P printed this thing out. This tiki drummer.
Nice.
It's kind of cool, right? But I'm having my buddy kind of scale it up a little bit more. I'm going to motorize it. And that I'm going to have, people can trigger that during the shows. Like, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun thing. It's way more interactive than YouTube. So, we'll check that out. The unfortunate side is Twitch plays ads. And that's something I didn't really tell anybody. So, because I kind of just realized like, oh, no. I have things that I need to tell everybody.
But it only plays ads for people who are not subscribed.
Correct. So if you use your free Amazon Prime sub, God, I feel I'm so old. I'm feeling my age right now. If you use your, Amazon Flivo Flabs to coordinate the Riz factor on the Skibbity, then you should be, chilled. Yeah. Then you don't see any ads or whatever. So
well, there you go.
I apologize. And they're not very long. Sorry.
Oh, well.
And pro tip for anybody like me, if you see the price of the subscription and you're like, where's the free one? There's actually a little checkbox just above that you have to check.
It's real close
use
by.
Prime sub or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
On another note, on a positive note, this is now the coolest night that I've spent in the studio in like 3 months. It is 79.5 degrees in here. Yeah.
Ooh.
Congratulations to us, everybody.
It is
just
almost
round
chilly.
of applause for us because it's usually it's 83 and I can't work in that. I can't do it. I refuse to do it. I'm 46 years old. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm not trying to sweat for my art, but I'll do it for my fart, which is very different.
Okay.
Anyway, on today's show, we have the great RGH. We have Mr. Ryan on from PewniePod, and he's going to be talking about the shape of Wolverine's buttocks in the new movie, Deadpool movie.
Absolutely.
And we're going to go into great detail about those, how they were formed, are they indestructible, and all the different ways that he would like to destroy them.
Yes.
Ryan,
And the
welcome to the
Xbox
show.
controllers based on them.
Yeah, that's right. No, Ryan's talking about Disney cruises. For some reason, for the last, in the last 8 months or whatever, you're like a Disney cruise expert.
I apparently have become that. I went on one and booked another like in 2 months.
Jeez, dude.
Wow. Spoiler alert. That must be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they suck. And I'll tell you how to do
terrible.
it. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is how to plan a Disney cruise, what to do. Because if anybody knows the tips and tricks on first time cruising on the Disney Cruise Line, it's apparently Ryan. Are you going to be the next? Person in our community to go work for Concierge now?
Maybe.
Is the Disney Cruise
That's what I
Line
was
expert?
gonna say the whole segment is just work with Concierge. Just call Jimmy. Call it a day.
That's right. Yeah, go to concierge.com and book your crew. Have them do it for you, and then we sit in silence for an hour, and occasionally just like a like a clearing of the throat or something happens, and then that's it. You know,
I loudly drink water.
There you go. Do an ASMR podcast.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm surprised those things lasted as long as they did. And I guess they're still around, but they're not as hype anymore.
What,
Yeah.
ASMR?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all over TikTok.
Are they?
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok. I think it was a joke. It was ASMR, but I think it was a joke. It was someone had soaked their feet in water and before trimming their nails, I guess. And so, you know how if you have like really short nails and you have you get out of the pool or whatever and like your skin kind of comes over the nail sometimes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They had a little like a crab. They had a little crab
What?
clipping the skin
No.
off of this person's toes,
Oh.
the little toesarinos.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was really good. And it was like ASMR. You could hear it, and it was disgusting.
No.
And I sent it to Bev, and she hasn't responded. So
That's awful.
I guess you're not
yeah,
friends
it's
anymore.
not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why she left the show.
that's right.
Wouldn't
Ryan,
you?
do come up a little bit, would you please? Yeah, anyway, in all seriousness, though, if you want to have somebody do your booking for you for cruises or just, the parks in general, that kind of thing, concierge.com, check them out. They will help you plan your vacation. If you're going to Florida, they'll help you figure all that out. Everything seems to be changing. It seems like there's a new rule every 6 months on what you can do and how you can do it and when you can do it and with whom you can do it and if you can read a book on it first or not. We don't actually really know anymore. So it's best to have somebody in your corner that can help you figure things out and be a little more clear than the company themselves. So go to concierge.com. They will work with you. They'll plan you a really good vacation. And the best part is you literally can be as involved as you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to really do anything. But if you want to be a helicopter customer, you can do that too. But if you want to be like me and just be like, just point me in a direction, brother, please. That's it.
Yeah,
They'll do it for you.
and truthfully, on cruises, they are like primo for cruises because you have all the control over the cruise still, but they also can jump on and you have to book things at midnight 6 months out and stuff, and they'll jump on and do that for you, and it's great.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that, and, working at concierge or whatever, or at least inquiring, not that they would hire me. But that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to set my alarm at midnight and get up and do that. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Kudos to people who do.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's why we love the service.
I know myself well enough to know that I wouldn't do that. I would go like, well, it's fine. They don't really want to eat there. That's fine. They don't care.
Now it's filled up.
Yeah,
My
it's filled
bad.
up. It's fine, man. It's midnight, for God's sakes. I need to watch this episode of Ab Fab again.
Well,
They're
they're definitely not going to hire you now.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, we have a
Like-
lot of people on the West Coast that do get up really, really freaking early to do the job when it comes
I
to
couldn't do
Florida
it.
reservations. I should mention right now that there is a promotion running for a couple more days. Depending, if you're listening tonight, you might be able to get it if you're interested. Otherwise, I don't know when you're going to post this, Jason. Depends on how
Shrug emoji.
how
bro.
thoroughly we screw up the audio. But book by the end of the day, July 31st. And if you're getting at least
geez.
2 nights and 2 days, or 3 days at 2 nights, 2 days at Disneyland, or 3 days at Walt Disney World, ticket wise, you can get a $50 Disney gift card.
Oh, that's
Wow.
barely a T-shirt to buy. That's good.
That's a
You
good.
get a
That's
couple.
good though.
That's like half
It's
a
a few
spirit
drinks
jersey.
on a cruise.
There you go.
Yeah, well,
See,
there you go, man. Good job.
go for that.
All right. Well, that's great. You could do that too, everybody. All right, Ryan. Let's go, baby. Let's go on a cruise. Let's go cruising. I wish I had cruise music for you, but I don't.
Toot toot.
A love boat. We need a love
Mhm.
boat theme.
Yeah, just a big pineapple right behind you, upside down.
Oh no.
That's for after hours.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's a secret show. Yeah, how to get STDs on Disney cruises.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's talk about cruise, Disney cruise specifically. So the way I structured this was starting off with just making the decision to go on a cruise, right? We're a lot of parks people here. You know, how does it compare to the parks? What's it look like? That sort of thing. So one thing that I noticed and what convinced me to go on our very first cruise was that although the price ranges varied everywhere from like a windowless cell on a boat that doesn't cost you very much up to like really great multi-room deals, your average ocean view room, so you get a window, you can look out and see where you are.
Yep.
That room will run you about the same, or in some cases less, than a good day in the parks, including your hotel, including your food, including everything.
Huh.
That's an interesting way to look at it. And I will say, like, I don't know how they are on Disney cruises, but the rooms that Bev and I had on our cruise that we went to a couple years ago, I'm always going to refer back to that because it's the only, interesting work vacation I've ever been to, is we had a window in our cell and it was half covered by the lifeboats.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
So you look out the window and it's just the bottom of the lifeboat or whatever. And so you can kind of see out, but not really, but it's a window room.
Yeah.
And you know the lifeboats are there.
That's
Disney
true.
tends
Yeah.
to go the other way. If you have any there's actually if you get really deep into Disney cruise planning, you can find these like secret rooms they're sold as inside rooms. So the ones without view, but they actually have a view.
Huh.
But
How does,
because
okay. Why?
it
How does
looks
that
out
work?
onto lifeboats.
Okay. All right. Well,
Ah.
So,
Yeah,
there you
so
go.
I can-
Okay.
I can tell you those
Yeah.
aren't worth it. Don't do that one. Those are bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Those weren't good. It was not fun.
So yeah, like I say, ocean view room, it's running you about the same as your hotel, your food, and your day in the parks, all
Okay.
added together per person. So what is included in that price is most of your food. You could actually include all your food if you wanted to. If you want to be a fancy boy, you can go to the fancy food. But other than the fancy food, you have a buffet that's open for lunch and breakfast that's actually really, really good. I would say, like, it's not like crappy Golden Corral buffet, but it's like an elevated buffet that's
Okay.
available to you for breakfast and lunch. You also have dining rooms available to you for breakfast and lunch where you can sit down
How
and
about-
have a meal.
How about this? Compare it to the average hotel buffet in Anaheim. I would imagine it's on par.
Like the free breakfast.
yeah,
hotel.
free breakfast hotels.
Oh, free breakfast way above.
really?
Like
So like not
far
powdered
away.
eggs,
Yeah,
like actual eggs.
Yeah, actual eggs. I'm talking like eggs Benny, different
Ooh, a
Really?
fave.
different Bennies every day. On the lunch
Oh.
buffet, you've got fresh seafood like crab claws and
The captain's off the stern.
right, yeah.
I swore. I'm sorry. Just like, pulling in the crab pots. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll be right there. I got to catch lunch for the buffet.
But yeah, I mean, on the buffet, you've got like an international section because they have a lot of international travelers. That usually cycles through like some sort of Indian food, some sort of Chinese food. And-
Okay. You can't, no, I'm I'm interrupting you the whole time.
No, go for
Indian
it.
food. Okay. Because the Indian food and the Chinese food that most people in America are subjected to isn't very good, or it's kind of like blah.
Yeah.
What is, I don't know how your culinary experiences range, but out here on the West Coast, we're refined. So please, okay. Is it good? Did you have that? Like, I'm interested in those.
I would say flavors.
the level of quality, because if you're gonna specify like we're rotating country of origin food, you would imagine it actually has some sort of kick.
Yeah, so I would say flavors wise, quality wise, I would put it at probably a C+ to a B. So
How many Bob Chapeks out of 10?
let's call it 7 Bob Chapeks out of 10.
All right.
That's pretty
okay.
good, man. Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
not too shabby.
Two
It does have
curries,
some
basically.
Yeah, there's some kick, a little bit of kick. It's Disney kick, right? So it's not,
Right.
You're not going to burn your nose hairs off or anything. I would say the variety of food is what actually surprised me. Like they had congee every morning. which I have never seen on an
Like
American buffet ever.
Like Japanese writing?
No, like the rice pudding. That.
You
Yeah.
can keep that.
It's
dude.
I find it super good, but or
Do
rice
you?
porridge. Okay.
Oh, from like the Indian style dessert?
Like the breakfast, almost like grits but with rice.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh, okay.
All right.
So lots of offerings there, and also really approachable offerings too. You've got like your chicken fingers and your mac and cheese and that sort of stuff. And I will say, chicken fingers on Disney Cruise Line are another level. Everywhere you go, they talk about it, and it is absolutely true.
Really?
They are some of the best chicken fingers I've had in my life, and I enjoy myself a chicken finger.
Why? I mean, why do you like chicken? No, I'm kidding. Why? Oh, yeah. What's the hype?
It's like crispy on the outside
It's
without
chicken
being
finger.
dry on the inside.
Okay.
And
Ooh, okay.
like you don't have like to be a spectacular chicken finger, you don't have to be that fancy, right? And so
Sure.
it's just good.
Okay.
They're just really good. But that's available to you in the buffet. Like I mentioned, you also have dining rooms where you can sit down if you want to kind of take a slower pace. It's usually less busy in the dining rooms for lunch and breakfast. And then on deck, all throughout the day, you have quick service places you can walk up to. You have a pizza place on every ship. That's usually like theme park pizza. It's,
Okay.
kind of okay.
Not good.
Yeah, it's there. It's also usually the one that's open the latest. So when you're drunk, you can get that one.
Okay.
Chicken tenders are always available on deck. So you can go get that. There's usually kind of burgers and dogs. On the Wish, there's actually a barbecue restaurant that has pretty good barbecue.
I can't. I
imagine
refuse
they
to
have
believe
to
that.
smoke it and then bring it on or something.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it is cooked on the ship. I would
No.
imagine you're right. It's probably like freeze packed or something like that,
Yeah,
like
it's
smoked
gotta
and
be.
then frozen, vacuum packed and then frozen and then just reheated or whatever.
That's
I went
probably
to
most of it. The food, that is.
Yeah, I know, but I think that there's something, and I don't know if it's just the lore or the appeal or the sort of like cultural implications of a barbecue restaurant, but it authenticity is like the point. So sometimes you go like, oh, this was smoked off, on shore 2 weeks ago, but freeze packed or whatever. I don't know. Now I don't want to eat it, even though it tastes perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's just something. There's something about that. Like there was a barbecue joint that moved into the little shopping center at the old house that we had, and they literally would take like it. You can see it. It was like preformed meat. It was like pre-sliced. So it was like from US Foods or whatever. And you can see like the electric knife marks in the thing. And it was like the meat was too smooth. And they just like put it in like a smoke sauce and go, here's the brisket. And I'm like, brisket doesn't look like strips. This is not it.
They are
They were
carving
calling
the
it barbecue.
briskets fresh on there. Like
All right.
it's
Okay.
probably frozen, warmed up, but they do cut them fresh, which is nice.
Yeah, and I guess my point is, when you're on a cruise line and you use the word barbecue, instantly you go like, it better be authentic barbecue or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe you get this impression too. Is it where you have to sort of set aside your normal landlubber standards and kind of realize everything in context of like, look, bro, you're in the middle of the friggin' ocean. What are you going to get? I'm swearing too much, dude.
Because you're on Twitch, you're like
Yeah,
you're forgetting
I
that we're doing a
guess.
show.
Yeah.
No, I there's some of that. There's some of the mindset of like, if I was paying $20 a pound for this would suck. But I'm paying nothing for this.
Yeah.
So, or I already paid for this, I guess is the, more cynical way to say that. But,
Yeah.
it's good. It was not what I went back to on my cruise. We were on the cruise for like 4 days and I ate the barbecue once and it was good. Like the ribs were tasty. The brisket was more like a pastrami, which was kind of weird to me, but
Yeah.
Okay.
But to be fair,
It's a beef air. Get it, guys?
hey.
Beef. Okay, yeah.
if you were to get barbecue at, say, Disney World or Disneyland, it would be the same. You're not going to get true, authentic Southern barbecue either. Like, I feel like just like it's the same standard. It's theme park standard, but it sounds like even it's a little bit higher.
Yeah,
even.
I would say it's like a notch higher than theme park. That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Which seems weird to me. I would think it'd be a notch lower.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, cruises are known for their food. I mean, just because they've got a captive audience doesn't mean that you're gonna have to eat garbage.
Well, but I guess it's because of the facilities, like the logistics of having good tasting barbecue on a cruise ship would be much more difficult, I would imagine.
Just because you can't have the open flame and everything.
Yeah, right. So
yeah, and I mean
that's very interesting. That's all interesting to me, and I don't know why.
For sure. On the other ships, you do have a stand that does like little sandwiches and salads and wraps, which that's not on the Wish. They don't have that kind of fresh on the deck. On specifically the Disney Magic, and I wrote this one specifically down for you, Jason. They have a Euro stand.
Hey,
yum.
That is
let's
included.
go. And
I'd be there all day.
it's got a
Yeah.
what? What did you say?
It's included, so it's in your price. You can eat all the
Dog.
Euros you want. Euros and shawarma.
Dog. I think I would just alternate between the two constantly.
Yeah. Yum.
There's no reason to get, because I tell you what, the perfect food is a burrito wrap kind of thing. That's the perfect food. Then you have a sandwich. That's lower tier, and then everything else.
Yeah, and imagine like sitting in the like fresh salt ocean air, just enjoying your Euro, primo.
Yeah, I mean, you're just back in the motherland at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that one of the? I don't know if you probably have a whole thing about what's available like all day long because they've got food 24/7, right?
Yeah, so the quick serve, all the things that I just listed that are the quick serve, that's available most of the day. It's open through dinner. They close varying times throughout the night. I think the latest that I saw anything open was midnight. So that's when everything kind of shuts down. But they do open after breakfast, so they're not open early in the morning, but they open up a little bit later. And then all the ships also, and they're kind of known for this, they have soft serve ice cream. So on all the older ships, it's serve yourself. You grab a cone, get yourself some soft serve ice cream. On the Wish and then beyond, because those were built, or the Wish was built during COVID, they set the service back, and a cast member serves you your soft serve.
And it's ice cream. It's not frozen yogurt.
Correct.
Oh,
It's not
man,
froyo.
That is so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's and it's like they vary their flavors too. And so there's always one that's your OG chocolate and vanilla,
Oh.
but they'll put in a banana, and they'll put banana in a machine with chocolate, so you can get a banana chocolate swirl. Real good. They have like mango, they have strawberry that kind of floats in and out. Maybe not always the best, but you know what? It's free. So try it.
All right. Yeah. It might not be the best. You eat it once and then don't ever do it again.
But the vanilla and chocolate are top tier, right? You
Of
walk
course.
up, you get a cone on a hot day. Nothing beats that.
This has nothing to do with anything, but I worked at a little snack stand one summer right after college, and we sold not only soft serve, but French
Hard
fries.
serve. But French fries.
Oh,
French fries and soft serve, and it was available to me the entire shift all summer, and I think I gained like 25 pounds because it's like just the combination of those two things. And then I thought I was doing really good because I'd always have a Diet Coke.
that totally balances it
Of
out.
course.
Sure. Absolutely.
Anyway.
I'll have a large pizza and a Diet Coke.
That would be really hard for me.
So that's all available to you all day, right? At night, they do what's called rotational dining for dinner. And this is a step above most of the table service restaurants in the park. They say that it's fine dining. That definition is a little bit loose in some of the dining rooms.
It's fine. The dining's fine. It's fine dining. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is good. It is very good food. It would be, like I say, like in the parks, you're talking a character meal or like a place you would go and sit down and eat. And you can get as much of anything that you want. I literally sat down every night and I ordered one of every appetizer. That was
Nice.
my first order
Okay.
every night. You can order one of everything. If they probably will frown upon it if you don't eat it, and you can also order off of the menus. This is a little tip for people. You can order off of the menus from the other restaurants. So
Oh,
if you liked something the night before, you're like, hey, bring me that back. They'll do it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
cool.
I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I could bring myself to order off menu. You know what I mean? Because I put myself in the position of the server going, bro, I got a lot of tables. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man.
And that is something I don't think I mentioned this anywhere else here. The Disney difference. That's always been a thing, right? The Disney difference.
Yeah, it's the price.
It's alive on the cruise ships. It is alive and well on the cruise ships, and particularly with your dining staff. So your waiters stay with you every night and also serve you breakfast
in your
on the day
cabin?
you get off the ship.
They don't sleep with you in your cabin, right?
I mean,
You can ask. They brush your hair. There's nothing creepy about it.
No.
Right.
They hang a hammock, make sure that you're tucked in, read you stories. So that you get the same servers the entire
you get the same
trip.
servers the entire time. They'll learn your drink orders. They learned, like, we took Ted on our first cruise. They learned that he has milk with every meal, so they would bring out the milk.
That's cool.
Yeah, they got used to my, like, every appetizer thing, and they would just bring it out.
They saw you coming a
Hell
mile away.
yeah.
Like, oh God, here it comes.
But
Here it comes.
Lisa is allergic to mushrooms, and this is the one time I've ever seen that, like, not questioned. Even at like Disney World, Disneyland, they'll usually question that, like, do you just don't like it, or is it an allergy? On the cruise, they were like, cool, this may be touched a mushroom, so don't do it, or we'll make it fresh or whatever. So I would say that Disney difference is it comes through so clearly, especially in those dining rooms on the cruise. The dining rooms usually are kind of set up where two are themed, one is not. One of them is like lightly themed, I guess I would say. So one lightly themed, one kind of character experience, and then one, I would say, just story experience, I guess is the best way to call it. So for example, on the Wish, your three restaurants that you get are 1923, which is themed to Golden Age of Hollywood. It's got they actually pulled a bunch of stuff from the archives and made replicas of it in some cases, used like actual stuff from the archives, and it's like on display in the restaurant.
Oh.
And it feels like a 1920s steakhouse. They have it divvied
That's
up
cool.
really well, and it's super cool. We actually sat in a corner booth, or like in a table that had Mary Blair, Alice in Wonderland drawings like on display
Oh, wow.
all around it, which was
Jeez, dude.
awesome to see.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
cool.
On the Wish, your other two are Marvel, which of course I was all about. It's a story. It's like a screen-driven story. There's screens all around the room that drive the story, and Spider-Man comes in at the end and says hello to everybody.
Like for real?
Hello.
Yeah, for real
Hello.
or like on the screen?
Oh, they have a character come
The
through.
character, yeah.
And he stops at every table and takes a picture.
How big is the dining room?
It's a big dining room. So
Jeez,
and on the
dude.
Wish, they have them split up for 1923 and Marvel. They kind of have it split into two different dining rooms, just with the way the walls are built and everything.
Hmm.
And then the big dining room is Frozen, and they do a Frozen show. It's super cute. Characters come around. There's an animatronic Olaf that's part of the show, and it's a little bit self-aware. Like for Let It Go, they have Kristoff and Oaken sing it instead of
See,
Elsa, which
I
is
would
fantastic.
listen to that.
Yeah,
But Frozen is self-aware. That's why I actually do like it.
Is
Yeah.
it self-aware?
Yes.
Does it really know?
the second
Yes.
one is self-aware for
The
sure.
second one's more so, but the first one too.
Okay.
We can
All right.
argue that at another time.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's a character dining with a story. The story is you're at Anna and Kristoff's engagement party, and that's
Okay, great.
yeah.
Do you have to bring
And
them a gift?
They theme the menus to everything too. So like Frozen is all very Nordic food. The Marvel show was all themed to different places Marvel stuff takes place.
Okay.
So like African inspired dishes from Wakanda and like old school American stuff from like for like Captain America types things.
Cool.
Some Southeast Asian influence on with like Shang-Chi and that sort of stuff. And then 1923 was just it's supposed to be California cuisine. They throw a California name on the front of some decent steakhouse food.
Okay.
So you do have 3 dining, and you can choose. You get one of 2 seatings. You either eat at 5:30 or 8:15, and then you get entertainment on the backside of that. So if you eat early, you get a Broadway style show after dinner. If you eat late, you get it before dinner.
Okay.
So that's all included. Your soft drinks are all included, as long as you're pouring them from a fountain. All included at your price. Obviously, your room. One of the things Disney's known for is their split bathrooms. So your toilet is in a room with a sink, and then your bathtub is in its own room, also with a sink, which is really nice for like
wow.
getting ready and stuff.
That's great.
You had a bathtub?
Yeah.
Not a
Bathtub-
shower.
Bathtub with a shower. The tub is small,
Dude.
but we could watch, like we watched Ted in it.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
you've
that's
got a
probably
kid.
why. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you just put them in a basket and lower them down in the water, in the ocean.
Catch
Yeah,
a few
pull 'em
crabs
back
on the
up.
way.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Anything we catch, we eat. That's how we save money on the Disney cruise. We lower our child in as bait.
So
That's
also
a
included in that
bathtub.
is all.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's your room. Your room is they're small. They're not large rooms. They're small rooms.
Well,
but that's-
here's the thing: is I would get into that room and I would look at the bathtub and I go, I would rather have this space to walk around in.
that's fair.
I don't need a bathtub. Why
That's
do we have a
fair.
bathtub? But I guess it's for kids. I mean,
Yeah. And I think, we were in what was called a deluxe family ocean view room, which that's a lot of word salad for a specific room. But we could have comfortably had a family of 4 in there. There's like a there's a larger than queen size bed, and then essentially a fold out couch and a bunk that comes down over the fold out couch.
I feel like the word comfortably is doing a lot of work in that sentence.
I mean, you're not in the room all that often, truthfully, because you're
out doing stuff.
you're out doing stuff. And so you're not in the room that often. You really only sleep in there. It's pretty comfortable, and they make the best out of the storage too. There's tons of closets. They lifted the bed extra so that you could shove your stuff under the bed. All of the walls are magnetic, so you can go buy magnetic clips. That's what we did, is we bought magnetic clips and stuck them to the wall and just hung stuff up.
Cool.
What? Wait, what?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
The walls are magnetic. Like they metal, the painted
They're metal. Yeah, they're metal. So
Weird.
Yeah, you can bring like magnetic hooks, hang them up and hang up your hat or whatever, hang up backpacks, all that kind of stuff.
It sounds cold.
I mean, you're in the Caribbean for the most
Well,
part.
I guess that's true.
I would guess an Alaskan
true.
cruise might get cold.
Gotcha.
I don't know, but
Okay. I mean, I doubt it. You're still in a room.
yeah,
But like, okay, that's odd to me. I've never heard of that.
Ryan,
yeah,
are-
it's. Oh, go ahead.
real quick. Well, maybe not real quick. We'll see. Are you planning on talking about some of the weird cultural stuff, like the cruisy things?
Yeah, I'll get that a little
Okay.
bit later.
We'll just save that then.
Yeah, we'll save that because there is some cool cultural stuff, not just upside down pineapples, but
Just weird enough.
Thanks.
Yeah.
yeah. So I will say for Disney Cruise specifically, the 2 oldest ships, so the Magic and the Wonder, and then the newest line of ships, the Wish, Treasure, and soon to be Destiny. Those have the metal walls. The 2 middle, the Fantasy and I have it right in front of me, Dream, do not have the metal walls. That's a pro tip for everybody. I know I dropped it like nonchalantly, but those magnetic walls, primo for like organizational type stuff, because
That
you
is so-
can't take over the door hangers. You can't use like an over the door hanger. Disney will confiscate that for scratching up the door.
That's such a weird like selling point too. Hey, we have magnetic walls. Like, great, man.
So
I think it's less of a selling point and more of
Hang
just
my
like something
robot.
that people discovered, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Just like
So that was
figured it
going to be
out.
my question. Did they tell you ahead of time that there were magnetic walls, or did you just know from your own research?
Disney did not.
Okay.
I think Lindsay might have included that in some of what she told us. And then I'll talk about the Facebook groups for cruises later. And that's really where we found out about that.
Okay, cool.
But outside of all that, staying on the topic of what's included, right? Tons of entertainment. You cannot be bored on a Disney cruise. There are character meet and greets. We met Spider-Man. We met Black Panther. We met the Fab Five. We met Rey and Chewbacca. There's trivia going on all the time. I was one question off of winning Marvel trivia on our cruise.
What was the question you got wrong?
It was...
Let's shame you for a little bit.
What city are Vision and Scarlet Witch hiding out in prior to their involvement in...
Oh, it's easy. It's like some city in New Jersey or something, right?
No, they're in like Amsterdam or
it's
in Europe
Stockholm,
somewhere.
if I remember correctly.
Stockholm. Oh, okay. I should remember that.
Well, there you go.
So lots of stuff. The kids clubs are second to none, which you expect with Disney, right? But I'm talking on the Wish. I wanted to go hang out in the kids club. Like they had the Imagineering Bay for kids, and I took pictures of all this stuff. There is all this, like all the models that they use to build old rides and stuff are in this bay for the kids to look at. They also have the ride simulators like they have at Imagineering, the big like rooms that simulate the ride.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Ted and I we did, because Ted's too young for the kids club, but we did the open house and I built like a big Thunder Mountain and I sat down in the simulator and got to experience that. It was super cool.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
And then they also run first run movies on all the ships, so you can watch all throughout the day. It's playing all day. If you want to take a couple hours and watch, first run movies.
Like in your cabin, or is there like a theater going on?
Theater.
Wow.
Jeez, what's a first run movie?
Like what's
it's a
in
movie that's run
right
first.
What, RG?
It's what's in theaters right now.
Oh, cool.
And is that an indoor theater versus the one that they play out by the pool?
Yeah. So there is an indoor theater. And actually during our cruise, War of the Planet of the Apes premiered, and they put that in the big Broadway theater one that night that it premiered. They played it there, and then they also played it in both of the movie theaters on the boat.
Oh, wow.
It was super cool. Super, super cool. And I'm really looking forward to my next cruise. Should be while Captain America's still in theaters. And my room is just down the hall from the movie theater. So,
oh God, you're going to be there all the time. I didn't even know Captain America was getting a new movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's Sam Wilson, Captain America.
I don't know who that is.
Falcon.
I barely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I've been watching The Boys lately again, so I'm getting him confused with A Train.
Oh.
Which I'm sure there's like some sort of, art direction taken from the Marvel, costumes, because they look very Marvel-ish. With like the carbon fiber padding or whatever. Yeah,
and now when I hear Captain America, I just think of Homelander, which is not good.
Yeah. But yeah, so and then Eric mentioned it. They do play Disney movies all day on the out by the pool on this big giant screen. So you can chill in the pool, watch a Disney movie. That goes all the way till midnight as well. Super, super cool. So that's all included in your price. So when I say a day in the parks plus your hotel plus your food is all covered by that. So when I say a good day in the parks is equal to a cruise, that's, it really is truly equivalent. And when I say a good trip to the parks, I want to be specific, right? Because somebody out there's probably a good day in the parks is the hotel's 6 and, whatever. I'm talking an on property stay at Disney.
Sure.
Plus, and then at Disney World, you're looking at, a moderate or an upper moderate resort probably, plus park ticket and all that stuff.
Okay. So it's $200 a day, you think? Maybe something like that?
It depends on your itinerary, depends on your stuff. For a basic itinerary, I think something like $700 a day per person.
That's a lot.
Which is a lot. It is a lot. It is a lot. Yeah. But, you look at the cheapest on property at Disneyland, and you're paying $500 that night, and you're paying another $200 for your park tickets and how much more is food,
true.
That sort of thing. So yeah, it's excellent. That's all what's included, right? And I'm not talking about the extras right now, but that's all what's included. The other thing, because the kind of subject of this is how do I choose to go on a cruise? A lot of people get nervous about seasickness. Lisa, my wife, gets seasick on smaller boats. She experienced it for one night. She bought one of those relief band things that shocks your wrist and keeps you from being
Shocks
sick.
your wrist.
Yeah, it's got like these little like electronic pulses that hit a nerve in your wrist and is supposed to help with nausea.
Oh, wow.
She did that for one night. She didn't wear it again, and she felt fine.
Okay.
Those
She got
boats
used
are
to it.
so big and so technologically advanced. Once you're moving off that first night, you don't ever feel it again.
Yeah, I was nervous about that too, and I read up a little bit about seasickness, and I read about the seasickness patches. And specifically, I was warned off of them because people they tended to, once they removed them when the cruise was over, all that sickness hit them, and they felt awful afterwards, which I thought was weird. So it felt like you were delaying the reaction. But what I did is you can get these like little, like they're like sweatbands, for lack of a better term, and they're tight, and then they have a little
button.
They have a little button or whatever that goes in the inside of your wrist. Yeah, and it pokes, and it applies pressure there the whole time.
Yeah.
And I felt great, and then I was like, do I really need? Is it doing anything? Let's see. So I took them off for like a couple hours, and I started not feeling good. I was like, okay, I'm going to put them back on, and it was gone. So whether or not it was a placebo or it actually worked, I don't care.
Yeah.
I felt fine. I was like, okay, this is good. I'm not going to be seasick on the beer cruise, please.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
fair.
going to be beer sick on a sea cruise.
That's how do you make your decision, right? Can I afford it? Is it going to be comfortable? The answer is yes, it's going to be comfortable. And can you afford it? It's sort of like looking at a park, right? And there are varying levels. You can definitely do the inside rooms and be comfortable, enjoy your stay, all that kind of stuff. I think it's actually more, what shocked me was how affordable it was. Now, if you're comparing cruise to Disney cruise, like something like a Carnival or something like that, there is a sticker shock there. Because Carnival cruises, you're going to get off for like $500 for a cruise per person, versus Disney, you're looking at, that same cruise itinerary running you double or triple per person, which that is a shock. But then when you think about all the things that are included, it starts to line up, right? It starts to make sense. So now that you've chosen, hey, I'm going to go on a cruise, I can afford it. Also, one last thing before I move off of affordability, because I've just noticed this in my notes, is you only have to put a deposit of about 10% to 20% down when you book. And then I think it's 3 months before your cruise, the rest is due. So that's really helpful for budgeting kind of stuff. So if you're looking at it and you're like, I can't pay that much right now, just know that is something that I didn't know existed until I really started to look in earnest.
Okay, cool. Interesting. I love Ernest.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back here. We're going to talk a little bit more with RGH about booking Disney cruises. Not only what else is included in Disney cruise, but how you go about it in the first place, and maybe a little bit clues into some research, and maybe what you guys can do to make your first cruise the best cruise possible.
All right, hang on, everybody. It's EarzUp. We'll be right back.
Back to Ears Up, where the opinions never stop. Ever.
All right, thanks for hanging on, everybody. With the great Twitch experiment, hopefully it's going well for everyone. I know Mr. P loves it.
The chat is popping off.
It's mainly Mr. P. You're just reacting to himself. But Rob from Bantha Milk is on, which is nice to see. And he says, haha, the four of you have 4 different levels of facial hair. Which I suppose he's right.
That is true.
And then I looked at everyone's hair, and then I realized that Eric has a butcher from the boys thing going on.
Oh, totally.
Huey.
I see it.
Homelander done killed me wife and took me bloody son.
I haven't watched it in a while. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, well, it is true. You said that you stopped watching after season 2.
Yeah, I just never got back into it when season 3 came out.
Well, you should, because I'm forcing Taryn to watch it, and we just watched the season opener for season 3. Yeah. Yeah. That's good, dude.
I bet it's
I need
great.
to get on that train. I have not started it yet.
Oh God.
Oh, you haven't started The Boys, bro.
I have the whole
I know.
series in
I know.
comics.
So good, dude.
I collected
There
it
is
back then.
Yeah.
that show is
It's
just
wild,
that
dude.
should not be on TV.
I know.
It should not be in anyone's brain to have made it to paper, to have made it onto a television show.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Anyway, Ryan, what are we talking about now? Sorry.
Yeah, so talking about, okay, cool. I know I can go on a cruise. Now what's the next step, right? How do I choose? There's so many options out there. You go to Disney's website and you see all the itineraries, all the ships, all the everything, right? And it's super overwhelming. You don't necessarily know the differences. You don't know what you're getting into. And so I'm here to help. I kind of broke this down into 3 different methods of choosing. I think they're all very valid. And they also all kind of just help build off of it, right? So first method is pick a ship that has stuff you like, right? Take a look at the currently 5 ships, soon to be 6 ships, and choose the one that has something you like. And here to help you with that is, hey, it's me. So the Magic and Wonder are the 2 oldest ships in the fleet. They were floated 1999 is when they set sail. They are very old school. Lots of like dark woods, very
Nice.
old school cruise feeling.
When are we going to get the Eiger as a ship? I feel like
Captain
we're
Iger is already represented on Castaway Key, so
we're there. We're almost there. Once he leaves, we're going to get a friggin' cruise ship named the Eiger. I can feel it.
Iger.
Bro.
So yeah, the Magic and Wonder, they're much smaller than any of the other ships. They're only about 2,000 passengers. So these are much smaller ships. The Wonder has some Princess and the Frog theming in it. So one of the restaurants is Princess and the Frog themed. It's got
I
a Princess
wonder why.
That's cool.
It's got a Princess and the Frog lounge as well. So a bar that's New Orleans themed. I think actually when Terrence was on, I think this was the boat that he was on, and he talked a little bit about that lounge and how it felt super well themed. They just rethemed that, I think just pre-COVID is when they took that from being kind of a hotel lobby bar to being a Tiana bar.
Okay.
And so
Man, I tell you what, COVID was the best thing that could have ever happened to the Princess and the Frog.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It opened up the world.
It really did.
it did. And then the Magic, which is the oldest ship in the fleet, it has a soul themed bar. So themed around.
Oh, that's right. That movie. I still haven't seen it though.
The jazz bar that he performs in. And then the like character show dinner there is Tangled.
Oh,
themed.
cute. Okay.
So if that's, if you're a Tangled fan, maybe the Magic is on your itinerary. Or if you're a Princess and the Frog fan, maybe the Wonder is something that's coming up for you.
Are they, let me ask a question, Ryan. Are they, and you might not know this, so if you don't, I will harass you.
Perfect.
Are the shows that you get, like the Tangled show or whatever, are they sort of akin to the stuff that you would find in the parks, or are they totally different?
Yeah, so your dining show, I'm trying to think if there's anywhere in the parks that has like dinner and a show like that, because most of the character dining in the parks is like you're eating and somebody comes around and bothers you while you're eating.
Yeah, which is super cool. Oh, I have ketchup all over my face. Sorry. Let me get a pic. Goofy.
So yeah, those shows with your dinner, it's the greatest hits of the movie, right? It's the greatest hit songs from the movie. They sing and there's usually some sort of dance number. Like the cruise I was on, it was Frozen was the show. Frozen was the dinner show, and they did like it's performed in the round, and the characters came out and walked through the aisle and formed a conga line for one of the songs or something.
I guess, let me clarify. I guess what I want to sort of put a point on is, even if you're not like you said, like a Tangled fan or whatever, right? The entertainment is different than you would find in the parks. So you could still go on if you want to go, if you just want to see a cool show that you won't see anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and you're eating themed food with it too, like, which is kind of cool, right? Like it immerses you in the experience a little bit more or whatever. The entertainment shows that are like after dinner, that are separate from dinner, which is in a Broadway style theater and all that, those are the shows that were in the Hyperion, those kind of shows.
Okay.
So, good shows.
I love it.
Moving on to the next class of ships, the Fantasy and Dream, slightly larger, about 4,000 passengers. Generally, these tend to be the favorite for most longtime cruisers that I talk to. So we actually talked to somebody who'd been on 75 Disney cruises.
Holy cow.
Oh my
Dude.
goodness.
Yeah.
Dude, how...
There are like 2-day cruises that like go out to Catalina from San Diego or something like
Okay.
that. And so I could imagine maybe there's some way to game the system a little bit there. And your cruises do get cheaper as you go.
I was about to do the math. I'm like 75. What are you blowing $100,000?
Yeah.
Something like that? Maybe more?
Maybe.
Probably more.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that would be 100 grand would be a pretty safe bet, assuming that they stayed about average with what their itineraries were and everything.
Wow.
Most people kind of like the Fantasy and the Dream. This is the middle class of ship. They have a princess themed dining, but it's not really a show. It's more like the character dining in the parks. They also have the Animator's Palette, and I'll talk about the Animator's Palette a little bit later. But Animator's Palette is on the first 4 ships, and it's kind of a special thing. And it's a little different on Fantasy and Dream. People tend to like it. These first 2 classes, so the Magic, Wonder, and Fantasy and Dream, are not overly Disney themed. You can walk around that ship and not see a Disney thing at some times.
That would be great.
See, I disagree. If I'm going to pay pretty much double the price that I would pay on a regular cruise, I want all the Disney stuff. Because otherwise I'll just pay half price and go to the other cruise.
That's fair.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I would like a break from some of it sometimes. I would like a safe space to go where I'm just in a normal area, pretending I'm a normal human in a normal universe. And if I want to go see all the Disney stuff, then I can go, you know what I want it to be? I want it to be Mr. Dietz's den in Beetlejuice, where he's like, just don't touch this room.
Yeah.
And that's it. And this is the room that I want to be normal. Then I can go outside for the horror show and all the other weird stuff that you go on. But here, this is where I can relax.
Yeah.
I can get away from nonsensical thing. Rob's in the chat and he says, is there a drink package on the Disney boats? I'm just going to
There is not. So there's not there's not an alcoholic drink package. Like I mentioned, all your soft drinks, as long as you're getting them from a tap, included. Oh, I also forgot to mention.
Oh, God.
Talking about
forgot.
soft drinks made me think of this. 24/7 room service is included as well.
But
that's
right.
soft drinks are not included on room service. You have to pay for the soft drinks on the room service, which is
interesting.
kind of a pain.
Or go upstairs and get it.
Yeah,
for
you
free
got to
and
hike
come
yourself
back.
up
Okay.
4 floors.
Yeah,
and
you
go
got to
get-
do it. Yeah. Climb through the tubes.
But yeah, the room service is 24/7, and you can get, it's not on the menu, but you can ask for Mickey premium bars at any dining, including room service. So you could get a Mickey premium bar like you get in the parks delivered, and we did very intoxicatingly order a Mickey premium bar delivered to our room.
How much was it?
Free.
But you said you had to pay
Included.
room service.
No, all the room
No.
service included.
Room
I
service
thought you said you had to
except for
pay for
drinks.
the.
Except for drinks.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
God, what a confusing, like, just either do it or don't. I don't know. Why
Yeah.
pay for drinks if the room service, but you're carrying a bar down for free?
Right. Yeah, it's weird.
All right.
But no, there are not alcoholic drink packages. That's a Disney thing. There are some ways to make your booze cheaper. Actually, those of you watching live, up behind me, it's kind of hard to see in the blue light. I actually have my beer mug from the Disney cruise. If you buy the mug, so you get, I think it's 4 extra ounces of beer every pour. And by your 6th beer, your mug is free. At some point, you've had the equivalent of a free beer. I don't know how the math works out.
Yeah,
But-
see, I would be like those dudes in England for a camera where they measure the foam on the top of the glass and be like, Why is this 3 times the amount of foam? Scrape this off. Give me a full pint of beer. Because in England, we don't want head on your beer. You don't want head on your beer.
And now they do have head on the beer on Disney cruises because they have the little latte art machines in the bar, and they'll print things on top of your beer.
On your beer?
Dude, that's wild to me. That's crazy to me. Mr. P says that's beer math, instead of girl
there you
math.
Go. Perfect.
Yeah, it was very
and
funny.
you can also get, so they have a drink of the day, which is $5, pre-mixed tropical drink typically. Like first day, it's always a Mai Tai. At some point, it'll probably be a margarita of some sort, whatever.
Okay.
You can get a cup for that also gets you the extra pour and works out about the same. By the 6th one, the cup is free. At some point, your drink is free.
Okay, so then and then the 7th, you can just keep going with that one, and then you're getting extra beer.
Yeah.
All right.
Coming back to the ships, right? So Magic, Wonder, Fantasy Dream, old school cruising. These are the things that kind of built those are the 4 ships that built Disney's cruise line. Then we get to the Wish. And my own theory is that the Wish is intentionally designed to pull parks people onto the cruise line. And the Fantasy is doubling down on that through some of the theming they're using, like with the Haunted Mansion and that sort of stuff. The Wish, Fantasy, and Destiny are theming overload. Like you can't walk around without seeing something Disney themed, right? Everything is Disney on these ships. They are the largest, but not by that much. They're about the same size as the Fantasy and Dream. They have 4,100 passengers, so about 100 more passengers than the Fantasy and Dream. They're the newest. They're the coolest. They have, like I say, all kinds of theming. Star Wars. They have the Hyperspace Lounge, which is a really cool space. Very themed out. Feels like you're on a luxury liner. It's the closest thing to the Star Cruiser that is left in the company at this point. There's a big screen behind the bar where every 7 minutes you jump into hyperspace and then you jump to a different planet. Super cool, super highly themed. That's where the $5,000 drink is that everybody talks about that gets you a ticket to Skywalker Ranch and all that stuff. I already mentioned the Marvel dining. There's also the Frozen dining. On the Fantasy, they're going to replace Frozen with a Coco dining, which should be really cool. Okay. The only weird thing to me is like they're going to sail to Mexico with that ship and have a Mexican restaurant on it, which feels strange to me. The Haunted Mansion Lounge that everybody's freaking out about, right? We're all pretty excited about that one. That's going to be on the Fantasy. The Aristocats Lounge that's going to be there on the Fantasy. So very, very deep themed. Everything is Disney. Every moment you're on that ship. And I was on the Wish. I went on the Wish. That was the one that I was on in May.
Yeah.
It was a blast, but you are absolutely in the bubble 100% of the time.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I don't know if I could take that. I don't know if I could deal with that. Like sometimes like walking into downtown Disney is kind of a refresher. It's a palate cleanser.
Yeah, and because like, so on the Magic and Wonder Fantasy Magic and Wonder, they have like the adult neighborhood. And this is also something that's different amongst the ships is the first 4, the Magic, Wonder, Fantasy, and Dream, have all their bars in one area of the ship. Everything is just in one little spot of the ship. And in the Magic and Wonder, you have like either an Irish pub or a British pub. You have like a nightclub, and then you have like a piano bar. The piano bar is either themed to pianos or to Cadillac cars. Don't ask me how Cadillac scored that, but you know. And then on the Fantasy and Dream, you have like a Skyline Lounge, which is like the Star Wars Lounge, except it's themed to sitting above the skylines of the world. And so you're looking out onto the skylines of the world instead of different planets. You have a Venetian bar. You have like a Bubbles bar that is loosely themed to Dumbo.
Okay, all right, great.
But yeah, so those are not Disneyed out. Whereas on the Wish, your bars are spread out. Your bars are all over the ship. There is not just that neighborhood. Okay. And then every single bar is themed to Disney. So your pub it's supposed to be kind of Norwegian themed, but like you have krakens on the wall holding Mickey pretzels. And like a map on the ceiling that has all the oceanic Disney stories plotted out on it. You have the nightclub is themed to the Disney short Luna, which is a light theme at best, right? It's a star.
You know, I like the idea of having little bars, little drink spaces, little spaces in general that are, I don't say sub-themed, but not overtly themed. Like you get a light theming for something that's maybe a little bit off the focus of whatever movie it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. I think that would be cool. Like instead of having the Encanto bar themed to Casita, it would be like some offshoot whatever coffee house or whatever that they had.
Yeah.
They were drinking coffee at, or that would be kind of fun. I think that would be
And
that'd
you
be
do
a nice
get a little
way.
bit of that on the Wish is where
Okay.
like the Tiana bar that's on the Wish. It's called the Bayou, and it's got like Spanish moss hanging, or not Spanish moss, the leaves. Magnolia leaves.
Okay.
Hanging from the ceiling, but there's not like frogs everywhere or anything like that, right?
All right, man.
And like the coffee shop that's on the Wish is Moana themed, sort of. It's got like Maui's hook sitting on a shelf, or like Polynesian art and kind of the colors of Moana, but not.
That's good. That's a good touch.
Yeah.
And so you're saying
Yeah.
that the complete opposite is the upcoming Haunted Mansion Lounge, where there's literally a story, there's another ghost you've got to learn about, and
You
Right,
have to do
right.
it. You have to learn about it.
And speaking of stories for my SEA fans, Mary
Yes.
Oceaneer runs the kids clubs on the Magic and Wonder, and she is a member of SEA, which is I'm really looking forward to. Wonder is my next cruise. I'm really looking forward to checking that bit out and getting some of those story bits. Other things that are different on the ships. Your shows are different on every ship. So check out, there's actually a really great resource. It's called Disney Cruise Line Blog. It's a fan-run blog, but they chronicle everything. You can check out there. They list all the shows. So like on the Wish right now, they're running a montage show that's like goofy, jumping through all the different stories, getting the greatest hits, right? Then you have a Little Mermaid show that's told from the perspective of people on the beach who are like retelling the story of the Little Mermaid
Okay.
in like a Broadway style. And then you
Should be
have
like TikTok
a-
videos.
What's
Where it's
up?
like people are making TikTok videos of the Little Mermaid. Like, what's up, fam? You guys
Yes.
check this out. This chick was
Perfect.
wild. Look at this. And it's like a shaky zoom in camera. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Is this real or not?
And then some ships have like a Tangled, some have Lion King. They have, so go check that out. Like I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm not going to bore you guys with the specifics. Disney Cruise Line blog lists what the current shows are on every ship. So if you're looking for a show, right, that might be a reason to pick a specific ship.
Yeah.
The sports offerings are different. The Fantasy and Dream actually have mini golf courses on them. The
Jeez,
other
dude.
ships don't. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then I would say the food is the best on the Wish. And that is a consistent thing I have heard, is that the Wish has the best food. The other four ships, the Magic, Wonder, Fantasy, and Dream, they have like a general fancy French-ish restaurant. They have a restaurant themed to a princess. And then they have Animator's Palette, which is kind of just elevated dining. And so the Wish has the most interesting food and has what I have heard over and over is the best food.
Nice.
If you're a foodie, get on the Wish. So that's one method, right? You choose your ship, right? Easy peasy, pick your ship. And you don't care where it's going. You just want to get on the ship.
Yeah.
Other option here is to look at the itinerary, right? Maybe you want to look at where you're going. Disney has 2 private islands-ish. One is actually a private island, Castaway Cay. Everything I've seen about Castaway Cay is that it is the superior private destination currently. It is a private island. It's very chill. It is go lay out on the beach, have free barbecue, get a tropical drink, put your toes in the sand. They do have snorkeling, which is kind of fun. They have like Disney statues that they have sunk and are using as artificial reefs.
Oh, nice,
They
dude.
even have a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine that they took from Disney World and sunk off the shore that you can
I love
swim
that.
out and check out.
That's cool. That's a good touch. I like that. Yeah.
So that's Castaway Key. It's great. You can do stingrays. There's all kinds of stuff to do there, but really it's about hanging out. Lookout Point at Lighthouse Key, or whatever they're calling the word salad that is the new one. It's a bit more of like a private resort on an inhabited island. It's on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas. They did design it to be more steeped in the local culture, so they have a lot of Junkanoo and a lot of Bahamian culture that comes in. I noticed their beer menu even has like local craft beers like Pirate Republic from the Bahamas, which Castaway Key didn't. It's got some drawbacks. So you have to walk about a quarter of a mile, I believe it is, from the boat to get to the tram, and then ride that tram another like half a mile to get to the beach.
Yeah, it's on the
Little
other
bit of a
side of the
drawback
island,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not terrible. You know, you got to walk off all that soft serve that you steal.
There you go.
You know?
There
True.
you go. It is very new. There's not a whole lot of shade, that kind of stuff. You know, think early days Animal Kingdom before the trees grew up. But I haven't been to Lookout Key. I went to Castaway on my cruise. It was great. Super fun time. Lookout, everything I've seen on it is it's going to get good. It just right now is new.
Okay. That's fair.
Oh, and your all-inclusive benefits extend to the islands. So soft drinks, soft serve on the islands, barbecue on the islands, all that's in your price.
Nice.
God, what about a free salad? Huh? What about a friggin' apple?
There is salad.
Nobody's
There is
getting
salad.
that.
There is, and there's fresh fruit. I took tahine on my cruise so that I could put it on the like fresh cut watermelon that was on the island. It was great.
Nice.
Sitting on the beach. Yeah. So then outside of their private islands, which are down in the Caribbean, you can do all kinds of cruises in the Caribbean. They visit the Bahamas, they visit San Juan, all over the Caribbean. They also have Alaska cruises that depart from Vancouver and go up into Alaska. So if that's something you're into, really cool like characters in Alaskan garb that are on the cruises for that. Really unique opportunities there. You also have Mexican cruises, so those usually leave from San Diego and go down to the west side of Mexico. They also do stop in Cozumel from Galveston sometimes too. They also have some stuff in the South Pacific, and for our Australian listener that I know we have, they also do move a ship to Australia at least once a year.
Wow.
And then they also move a ship to Europe at least once a year and do like Mediterranean cruises.
Nice.
There's also the days at sea options, which unfortunately are starting to like shrink in the offerings that Disney is offering on these. So they used to offer a Star Wars day at sea, a Pixar day at sea, Marvel day at sea, Halloween at sea, Christmas at sea, those sort of things where it's a day where you're not in port. It's very themed to those days. At this point, the only itineraries that they have left are Marvel, Halloween, and Christmas. So
Christmas at sea would be cool. Like
It
I
would
know
be.
for our cruise, and I think it's like cruises in general, you have to spend a day at sea and you just are doing like figure eights
Mhm.
in the ocean. Like you're not going anywhere. You're just literally doing a weird pattern in the ocean. But that'd be kind of neat. A Christmas at sea would be fun.
Yeah.
Halloween, I don't know. I love a Halloween, but for some reason, there's something a little bit more special about Christmas on the sea. I think that would be the one I would pick.
Be kind of magical.
I've seen some of the menus too, and they'll do like on Christmas they'll do traditional dinner instead of the like dining menu for that day and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I would also say for any first time cruisers, get an itinerary with a day at sea because they do have itineraries that are nothing but ports. There is so much on these boats to do. You want a day at sea.
And
Also,
I think
you can't shop when you're at port.
it's true. Well, I think also the chaos of getting off and on the boat it can't really be understated either. It's very much like you're waiting in line. So you're going to the parks, you're used to waiting in line, but waiting in line to get off the boat, do that whole thing, make sure you're on at 5 or 7 or whatever your time is, because they will leave your narrow ass on the beach. They will leave you behind, and that is up to you to get home at that point.
Now, Disney,
So don't
my
worry about
experience in the Bahamas was it was super quick on and off the boat. Disney has it worked out with like local authorities and stuff to where like on mine you could scan your Magic Band at customs and they're like, cool, yep, you're with Disney. Go to your boat, get on.
Hell yeah, dude. Bringing some pills home.
And then there's also there's a cool option that you can do. And this is my next cruise is going to be one of these. So there's these transfer cruises. So anytime they're moving a ship from place to place, they're going to sell that passage, right? So you have transatlantic cruises, which a lot of people know about. That's, going from usually somewhere in Florida to England, usually is where they end up. And that's the transatlantic, 14 days. You're going across the Atlantic and you get a lot of days at sea. I know that Eric's co-host on some of his other shows, Teg, just did one of those, and it sounds really cool. It's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
The next cruise that I'm on is actually a transfer cruise from Vancouver down to San Diego. So it's a one-way cruise from Vancouver down to San Diego, and it's actually the end of several transfer cruises that the Wonder is doing, where they're moving it from Australia. They're moving it from Australia to Hawaii, so you could go one way, Australia to Hawaii.
Dude. How many days is that? Like 2 weeks?
14 days, yeah.
Wow.
And then there's another 14 days from from Hawaii to Vancouver.
I also feel like if you're going from Australia to Hawaii, you're basically you're just home. Like, I don't know. You're going from one island to another, but one is, has more trees.
Yeah, it's just the South Pacific at that. You're just experiencing the South Pacific.
You're right.
And then occasionally they'll do a Panama Canal cruise. Now, those haven't been done a whole lot in the last couple of years, and actually they are doing one, and one of my close friends is going to be on the next Panama Canal cruise that they're doing in 2026. It sold out the day that it released.
Wow.
Because
Dang.
people want to do Panama Canal. It's going from Galveston, Texas, through the Panama Canal and over into San Diego. They're moving the Magic to the West Coast, which is interesting because they're going to have the two smallest and oldest ships now on the West Coast.
Well, they've got a lot of smaller. Those Mexico trips are only like 3 days usually.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it boils down to. Is like they can run one up in Alaska more full time, or sail one over to like have it alternate between Alaska and Australia, and the other one just runs those Mexico cruises year round.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. P is in the chat. And of course he is. He says, were there any negative experiences on the boat? Like drunk people getting rowdy or Karens talking to managers or whatever?
On my cruise, there wasn't. I'm trying to think through that. There wasn't too much of that. There was one guy who was kind of awkward. He sat next to me at the bar during Marvel trivia, and he was just an awkward dude. But
he's a Marvel fan. I mean, come on.
I'm trying to think. Nothing else that I can think of, which I think part of that is the price tag. That would probably elicit more Karen behavior, I would guess.
I think part of it's the price tag. It also sounds like the drinks packages are non-existent, and therefore that's going to really kind of curb a lot of that enthusiasm.
Yeah, and it's not expensive for drinks. Like I mentioned, $5 for the drink of the day, which is a mixed drink that's pre-mixed.
Drink of the day. Well, Terrence, if I remember, Terrence is saying he was paying like $11 for Blanton's or something like that on his cruise. Like, dude,
wild.
Or $8 or some infuriatingly low amount of money.
Beers are like domestic / cheap imports are like $6-7, which isn't terrible.
Bro.
It's not.
No, it's not bad. Like we went when we did our cruise, I bought the drink package. It was $75 a day, and all I drank was Newcastle. I mean, I had mojitos and stuff too, but I don't think those counted. So it's just beer, and it was like that's a lot of Newcastle to drink. That's like 8 Newcastles a day, or maybe 9 to get your value, and that's a lot. It's a lot of beer, but I did it. I want you to know that.
Yeah, so it's not too there wasn't too much of that. There's like some story that's stuck in my mind, but I can't think of it now. I will say I did pay $52 for one specific drink when I was on the cruise.
Dog.
So this was a very specific thing. On the Wish, the barber shop is called Hook's Barbery. And for 3 hours a night, I think it's from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. They pull back a map of Neverland, and they, like, the rest of the day, there's this big map of Neverland on the wall. They move that map of Neverland that's in the barber shop, and there's this huge wall of whiskey, and they do custom old fashions. There's no menu to it, just the cast member who's working there. And I talked to the cast member for a good long time because you want to get your experience out of it, right? So I'm talking to this guy, and he had been on the Wish since it set sail, and had worked his way up to getting that spot. And that was like his goal, was he wanted to be there.
Nice.
It's probably where all the tips are, honestly.
I mean, yeah. It's
High-end drinking, yeah.
It's also the creativity.
Who cares, though?
Because there's no menu. So, like, for mine, it was rye. It was a Whistle Pig rye, custom bitters that he had made. I forget what was in it now. A habanero simple syrup, and then habanero candied bacon.
No, you lost me at the bacon.
It was, and it's smoked. That's one of the few places on the ship that they're allowed to have open flame. So they have these little smoking cloches that they can smoke the
like the glass and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dude, they have I know you didn't sell these. I know you didn't like set this up. It's not your thing. But they have little handheld units. They're like $300. And you can put little wood chips and stuff in the thing, and it's like a creme brulee torch kind of.
Yeah.
And it just emits smoke out of there. You don't even need an open flame.
Well,
Look at that.
they use that in the
Save
Star
money.
Wars bar. The Star
see,
Wars
there you
bar,
go.
and there's also like a Cinderella bar that has a bunch of bubble drinks
Oh, yeah.
based on like her cleaning and that sort of thing. But they
Okay.
make smoke bubbles, right? They use those same things, and they just dip it in some edible bubble solution and
Nice.
pop
Oh,
the
those
smoke
okay.
bubble.
All
Yeah.
bubble solution is edible if you're under 10.
True.
I thought
Yeah.
you meant champagne drinks.
They also have a bunch of champagne.
And I
drinks
was
there,
like,
too.
I am there.
bubbly.
Yeah, they have so they do bubbles on all of its understandings, right? So smoke bubbles, like these ice, like spherical ice bubbles that they fill with the booze, and then you get a little hammer that you crack it
Oh,
open
fun.
with.
That's cool.
And then also champagne based drinks.
If I
Nice.
recall, on the maiden voyage of the Wish, Josh Tomorrow spent a lot of time at that Barbary whiskey bar drinking George Washington rye and Pappy.
Yeah, they have that very prominently, like, oh, look what we have. It's a cool experience, and it was real. I actually, my beard trim happened on the ship so that I could like be there to get a drink, because I was like,
So you're like, you staked out your spot.
yeah, kind of.
Okay. You're like, let's time this perfectly for the transitional.
Well, and then what
thing.
I did was I transitioned it poorly, and I didn't end up getting the drink that night. Because there was a tasting going on, and they do. That's the other thing, they offer tastings and stuff, but really cool there. So yeah, you could choose by your itinerary, right? Where do you want to go? That's how a lot of people choose their cruises. Where do I want to go? The transfer cruises, which is the last thing I mentioned there, they tend to be a little cheaper too than an average cruise because it's one way. So there's more logistics you as the passenger have to figure out. We're departing Canada, ending up in the US. What does that look like for us? That sort of thing.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, that doesn't mean a whole lot. It just means our passports need to be up to date. But,
Okay.
So the last method I would say is picking by departure port, right? If you're cheap like me, you're going to look for where it's cheap to get to. And so Vancouver, San Diego, Galveston from here in Colorado, those are under $100 on Southwest. I can pop out to those versus getting to Florida to get on a cruise is going to cost us, a couple $100 each for each flight. So choosing specifically where it's leaving from, also very valid. And something that not a lot of people think about, right, is how do I get there?
Yeah.
How do I get to the place?
To the port. Yeah, they don't come
Yeah.
pick you up.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
And so pick a port that is easy to get to, or a port that you want to do things in. And this is one of my biggest tips for cruises is know that you need to be in the port city the night before you leave and the night after you get home.
Yeah, when you disembark, stay the night where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so tack on some extra fun, right? So for example, my cruise next March, we're departing from Vancouver. So we're flying to Seattle. We're spending the day in Seattle, taking the train up to Vancouver, spending the day in Vancouver, departing on the cruise the next day.
Yeah.
And then we
nice.
get a day in San Diego on the backside. Do not do Disney parks after a cruise. I have talked to so many people that have horror stories about that. You basically waste all the relaxation you just got off that cruise.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Here, speaking of ways to relax. Summer is just around the corner, and our friends at the 21st Amendment Brewery are welcoming the warmer weather with open arms and a refreshing favorite, Hell or High Watermelon Wheat. Picture this: a sunny day, the smell of barbecue in the air, and a cold, crisp Hell or High Watermelon in your hand. It's the ultimate summertime companion, perfect for those unforgettable gatherings with friends and family. But what makes Hell or High Watermelon so special? It's not just its bright straw color or tight white bubble. No, it's the subtle blend of wheat beer with a hint of sweet biscuit and a kiss of juicy watermelon that sets it apart from the rest. With its refreshing flavor and delightful light fruit notes, Hell or High Watermelon is bound to become your go-to summer beer. And at just 4.9% ABV, you can enjoy it all day long without missing a beat. So when you're looking for that perfect beverage to complement those sunny days and backyard barbecues, look no further than Hell or High Watermelon Wheat. Find it wherever great craft beer is sold and make this summer one to remember.
Hey. So yeah, other cruise ports, obviously Port Canaveral is right there by Disney World. We actually went to Epcot the day before our cruise. We flew in and went to Epcot and then got on the cruise. So Port Canaveral's right there by Orlando.
Nice.
So think about that too.
Also, just to put a finer point on it, when I was doing my cruise, we actually missed our flight. So we were leaving out of Miami, and we planned to fly in and then do stuff during the day in Miami, and then the next day go on the cruise. But we missed our flight because someone in our group decided to take too long, and we were 45 minutes or before takeoff, but American wouldn't take our bags at that point. We were 5 minutes over the deadline for the cutoff. It's like we're in line. We've been standing in line, but the ticket taker took so long to get to us that it blew our time frame, and they wouldn't let us on so we had to spend 12 hours in SFO.
Oh, gosh.
Just roaming SFO and
sucks.
getting massages and stuff like that. So that's also a thing too. Is don't plan on leaving that day. Like, I'm going to fly into Miami at 2 because I have a 3:00 boarding. Like, you might miss your flight.
Don't do that. Yeah. And enjoy the port cities, right? Vancouver's a cool place. Disney leaves out of like Vancouver, San Diego, Galveston, which is Houston, and then Miami and Port Canaveral. Cool places to hang out.
Yeah, for sure.
At this point, we've picked our cruise, right? We either found a ship that has stuff we like. We're like, okay, cool. That's what I'm going to do. Found an itinerary that's going somewhere cool. Or we were like, hey, there's a port city here that has cool stuff that I want to do or is close to me. And that's how I want to do it.
Sure.
So then you've booked your cruise. How do you start your pre-work, right? And I'm going to tell you, it's not like Disney parks where you need to get a 4-year degree to make sense of it all, right? You can pretty quickly get a good feel for what you're gonna experience in a few ways. First and foremost, join the Facebook group for your cruise. Search for the date, search for the ship name, join that group. Our Wish cruise had about 500 members in it. So of about 4,000 people on the ship, 500 of them all kind of got to know each other through this Facebook group. That's where you set up fish extenders, which Eric alluded to earlier. Fish extenders are a really cool kind of Secret Santa type gift exchange that goes on cruise ships, where you have like a pocket organizer outside your door and people drop off little $20 gifts to you.
Yeah, that's what Terrence was talking about. I don't like that. It's uncomfortable for me.
You don't have to do it. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, do it or not. It's kind of up to you. We got some kind of cool stuff. I will say, for anybody who's looking at cruising, get disposable things for your fish extender. Do not give people hard goods that they have to figure out what to do with after the fact. Or make it really nice hard goods, right?
What are
like
you talking
somebody in
about?
our group gave like Tervis tumblers.
What's a fish extender?
It's the fish extender is the gift exchange.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I must have blacked out.
It's just a weird
No,
name,
you're good.
yeah.
You're good.
All right.
Somebody gave like Tervis tumblers that were like customized with custom decals and stuff. That's nice, right? Those are high quality. If you're gonna splash out, splash out.
I guess.
If you're not gonna splash out though, just get like a bunch of like put Mickey stickers on some red Solo cups and give people like toppings for the soft serve so that they can have a little Sunday party. Right? That's a popular one I see. Or like
It's too much for me, dude. I can't deal with it.
or food from your country. We were in a fish extender group with two Mexican families, and they brought Mexican candy and gave it to us.
Cool.
Or like things that can happen on board. Like we gave coloring books and decks of Uno cards for people, so that for kids, right? The coloring books were for the kids in the group. Uno cards for the parents, so that when they're in their cabin at night and they're not doing anything else, they have something to do.
I don't know. Seems a lot like socialism to me, Ryan. I don't know. I don't really go for that.
I think also Terrence experienced, if I remember correctly, what's called pixie dusting, which is kind of more of a random gift exchange. It's people drop off friendship bracelets or...
Dude, who has time for that? No, enjoy your own cruise. Go do your own thing. Don't worry about how I participate in my life. Don't worry about it. I'm also not going to bring on a bunch of gifts for random strangers. No, I'm not going to go to the dollar store for Tina and Ben and their bratty little kids. No.
I will say, so Mr. P mentioned bringing on a bottle of Hypnotic or a bottle of Hennessy for everybody. Unfortunately, that would not work. And one of the people in our Facebook group forgot about that until literally the day they were getting on. You are not allowed to have hard alcohol in your cruise room.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was like a group there. One of the families was from Canada, and they were going to bring Canadian whiskey and give it to all the people in their group.
Yeah, everyone loves a bottle of Screech. Yeah, cool. All right, what else, Ryan?
Join the Facebook group. Great place to ask questions, right? There are people who have been on 75 cruises in that group. There are people who have been on, this is their first one. So really cool kind of option there to really get to know who you're cruising with, which you're on the equivalent of a hotel, right? You're on this small space for several days with the same people. You're going to see the same people all the time. So it's really nice to kind of get to know them ahead of time a little bit. And there is a really cool culture that has grown around that. There's a lot of people who get really into it. Usually there's a WhatsApp group that gets formed because WhatsApp works without buying the Wi-Fi package on the ship. You can just connect to the free Wi-Fi and WhatsApp will work. So if you're trying to organize, hanging out with people,
That would have been nice
there.
on our cruise, man. Yeah, you're at the mercy of service.
Yeah. I would also say, as far as like pre-cruise prep work, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that do vlogs and tours to cut through some of the noise out there. I do want to mention just a couple that I found that aren't terrible, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Disney vlogs, as we know from the from our time with walkabouts, that are just absolutely obnoxious. But Ben and David are a cruise couple from England, and they do all kinds of cruises, not just Disney cruises, but they have content about most of the ships. Ordinary Adventures is a YouTube channel that's all about Disney stuff, and they do Disney cruises. Mammoth Fam is another one, and then Super Enthused. So all four of those, I would say I use them for various research purposes about these ships. They'll do walkthroughs, they'll show you what they're eating, those sort of things, with minimal annoyance on most of them.
I don't know. YouTube and minimal annoyance don't really go together, but that's cool.
I gotta say, Super Enthused really missed the boat, pun intended, by not calling themselves Super Encruised. But
well, that's fair.
It's just me.
They do theme park stuff mostly, but they also cruise.
Wow, dude.
And when you're doing that research, it's important to know your sister ships. So like I mentioned, the Magic and Wonder are essentially the same ship, just different stuff, just different themes.
Okay.
But they have the same menu in several of their restaurants.
Got it.
Also knowing your menus. So like Animator's Palette, it's the same on the 4 older ships. The experience of Animator's Palette is a little bit different between the oldest ships and then the second class. So the oldest ships, Animator's Palette is really cool. The walls they have all these screens, and you watch sketches go from concept to full animation. And then the Phantasmic music plays at the end, and
That's
Mickey
nice.
comes out and says hello to everybody, which is kind of fun.
Cool. That's neat.
And then on the second class of ships, on the Dream and Fantasy, Animator's Palette is basically Turtle Talk with Crush. He just comes to a screen by your table and talks to you.
Nice.
There's also on the 4 older ships, Lumiere's, Triton's, Royal Palace, and Royal Court, all the same menu. So if you're looking at a review of one of those 4, you're looking at a review of all of them.
Okay.
All right.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, Disney Cruise Line blog, fantastic for this research. They have fan submitted menus. So every time, then they get a new submission about, I would say probably once or twice a month, where somebody has gone on the cruise, they've taken a picture of the menus, they upload it. You can see everything there. Super great for kind of knowing what you're getting into, right? Knowing, is this going to have something for me? Disney Cruise Line blog is fantastic for that.
Nice.
Now you've done your prep work, right? You're doing your research, you're figuring out. Now you go on your trip. Enjoy your trip. Like I mentioned, get to your port at least one day before and leave at least one day after. Don't stress the rest of it. If you're in Orlando, there's cool stuff to do that isn't Walt Disney World. Actually, on this
Universal Studios or leaving, one of those two things,
or Gatorland.
Yeah, I guess.
I actually did Gatorland during my cruise trip. We stayed with some friends who live down there, and we got to do Gatorland. We also got to do a soccer game. We went to the friends we stayed with. They score for the teams in Orlando, so we got to go for free to the Orlando Pride, which is the female team there.
Okay.
Lots to do, and Orlando is more than just Disney World. So even if you don't want to try and figure out how to do a Disney World trip, I think our concierge called it a land and sea or a surf and turf trip. You can still figure out other things to do around Orlando as well.
Excellent.
That is it. I would say I had a note here about packing, but I think that's so dependent on your itinerary that, my packing tips are magnetic hooks. You get a 6-pack of beer. You can take a 6-pack of beer or 2 bottles of wine on.
Oh, just not hard liquor. Okay.
Yeah. Just
I
not
wonder
hard liquor.
if you could just buy pre-made the cans of pre-made alcoholic drinks. Sure, they're only 10%, but
water.
You could probably sneak that by them.
I know, right? No, I'm not going to pull out, any labels or whatever. Interesting. Or if you're a home brewer, you have a canning system at home,
then
There
you
you
could
go.
you
Put
can just
anything in
can your own, just
can
just
straight tequila.
Yeah, just a can of literal liquor. No one will ever know.
Don't definitely pay attention to Disney's do not bring rules. They have some weird stuff on there, so don't just think I've vacationed before. I know what not to bring. Check those out. Things like power strips aren't allowed. Surge protected power strips, I should say. Stuff like that. So check that stuff out. You're going to hear that from everybody. You don't need me to tell you that kind of stuff.
That's it.
From there, yeah, just enjoy your cruise, man. Genuinely, the Disney difference is real, and it is absolutely real on the cruise line. I am a huge advocate of Disney cruises at this point. It's the parks feel that you miss. Everything you miss about the parks, all of the cool stuff that used to happen in the parks, the free plushies that would show up on strollers and all that stuff, that's happening on the cruise. That's where it's
moved to water.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that was very informative, Ryan. I appreciate you very
Yeah,
much.
that was great.
Very detailed, and you did a great job.
I am glad to have shared.
Yeah. All right, we are out of here. That was this is a long time, man. I hope everyone is okay with that. Actually, I don't really care. There's a lot of good
It was
information.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sitting there going, wow, I keep forgetting. Like, I keep having these people on that do like 8-hour shows.
Yeah, sorry.
No. It's
You
definitely
hired
not definitely not an apology scenario. Just coming off the scraping the vault episode. I was like, oh man, I forgot. I keep forgetting. Everyone have like details. They have like good details. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know. The ship floats.
It does.
That's it. I don't know.
As long as it's not the Titanic.
That's right. Well, that's what. It floated until it didn't. That's why I had you do this instead. So I don't know. I don't know from anything. So I appreciate it. It was very detailed, and that's the important part about cruises, right? Because if you've never done one specifically, and you go on a cruise, it is a completely different animal than you ever expect. There are a lot of rules to it, and there's just different ways to have a good time, and it's a whole different learning experience. So hopefully this helps somebody at least plan for that and prep for that, because it sounds like the Disney cruises have a lot more diversity when it comes to entertainment options.
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually pick what you want to do, it sounds like, and then you can tailor stuff around. That's what I would never think about. I would go on the Disney Cruise website or have concierge and be like, I don't know, I just want to go up here, and I don't know. But now you can do some of that groundwork before you call concierge and have book for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's impossible not to have a good time on a Disney cruise. Like,
Yeah.
you will enjoy it. There is things to enjoy, and it is impossible to over prepare for it the way that sometimes people get really, I myself included, obsessive and over prepared for the parks, because you don't have access to a lot of the information until day that you get on the ship. Like, you literally don't know when trivia is going to be until the day you get on the ship. And so you can't go, hey, I need to be at this place. I need all these things until you get there, which is kind of refreshing coming from a parks lens where you're like, okay, I know that Doctor Strange's show happens at 2 p.m.
Sure.
I know that I have a lightning lane at 1 p.m.
But also I think the good part about being self-contained on a cruise that you don't really need, it's not like you need a whole bunch of stuff anyways.
Right.
Anything you ever need is on the ship.
Yep.
It's not a big deal. So have fun. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you in the parks. Jesus Christ, scared the shit out of me.
Good time.
Thanks, P, for the biddies, baby. I got to figure out how to turn that down. All right, I got a lot of work to do. All right, buddy. See you guys.